All right, you guys, I am here with Shawn Edwards. Tell me,
I'm locked in.
tell me what you've been watching. Give me like the top 3 things that you've been watching and that you think that somebody else should watch too.
Let me start with number 3. It's on Apple TV. It's a feature film. It's called The Banker with Samuel
I
Jackson,
saw that.
Anthony Mackie, and Nia Long. Job well done. It's a solid movie. I'm not going to say it's a great movie. It's a solid movie, but the more important reason why you should watch, it's just informative. Like, it's so crazy what went on back in the day in terms of housing and banking and Black folks and how the system has always been against us. And that's what the movie does best. I actually like, Samuel Jackson and Anthony Mackie, they had a fair amount of chemistry together, There was a lot of like verbal jousting. I mean, for what it was and for what it is, I thought it worked. Nia Long was adequate. It's a solid watch, especially, since you're streaming and you're stuck at home. But I highly recommend The Banker. I thought The Banker was just,
So Shawn, I totally agree with you on that. Is that it's a solid movie. Would this be a movie I say is a must watch if you were trying to run to the theater? I wouldn't say that. But if
I wouldn't either.
But if you're at home,
and
if it had come to streaming after it was in the theaters, I would have told people to go see it. And I probably would have still told people to go see it at the theater, because I think your point, though, about how informative it is was the thing that caught me. It's like it was mind-boggling, Shawn, what they did to these dudes.
Yeah. And what they did to just people in general. I don't think people today understand how hard it used to be to purchase a house. Like, a lot of people take that for granted because a large segment of the population, it's easy for them to buy a house.
That's right.
It's a no-brainer. They can go live anywhere they want, any place, anytime, and it hasn't always been like that for Black people.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people take that for granted. They're like, oh, yeah, we have a house. My family's always had a house. It didn't always work like that. And this movie does a good job of exposing that. It's almost like it almost plays sort of like a second tier Hidden Figures. I mean, Hidden Figures was such an exceptional movie, but it sort of functions in the same way that movie did. And like I said, I like Samuel Jackson's always engaging. Samuel Jackson is a genius at finding characters that are right down his lane. And he just he always finds characters right, and he can execute. I think he can execute it in his sleep. And so he does a good job. And, Anthony Mackie's no slouch, and Nia Long's good. And like I said, the story's more important than the execution. But if you're streaming it, it's not like you're jumping
and the execution was good.
Your car and driving to the multiplex. So
right.
If you're streaming The Banker, I'm not sure how many people have Apple TV, because I just don't think Apple TV's exploded.
That's right.
Like some of the other platforms. But if you have access to Apple TV, I highly recommend The Banker.
Cool. So we moving to your number 2, man. What's your number 2?
Man, all right.
I got you. You got a number 5, 6, and 7. That's really what you.
Look, this number 2, I'm gonna recommend it, but with a little reservation, because it actually has a ton of flaws. But once again, we're sort of judging everything on a coronavirus curve.
Okay.
So the Clark sister biopic on Lifetime.
I have not seen it, so you're gonna help me on this one.
Yeah, let me set you up. I absolutely hate and loathe biopics on Lifetime.
Okay.
I just think it's almost like man. Remember, you used to have those books where like they weren't Cliff Notes, but they were like Algebra for Dummies or American History for Dummies and stuff. They produce everything on that level. Now, the reason why I recommend the Clark sisters biopic is because it's about time someone told their story. Because their story in the history of music, in particular the genre of gospel, is amazing. They're pioneers.
That's right.
They set the tone. People have been copying and mimicking their style for years. And it's a great story. You basically had the Joe Jackson. Their mom was Joe Jackson. And she pushed the daughters super hard. Like, nobody succeeds without being pushed hard. And they developed a style, and they went through the usual struggles. We're touring, we're not making any money, and blah blah blah, bad relationships, and it gets real formulaic and it gets real redundant. It's a little stereotypical. But I will say that Anjanou Ellis, who plays the mom, is fantastic. And if I was an Emmy voter, she at the very least deserves a nomination. It's a really great performance, and she saves the film. And I believe the film has earned a bit amount of goodwill because of the fandom. The Clark sisters have a huge fan base, and this is kind of what this movie is designed for. It's designed for the fans of the Clark sisters. Definitely TV-esque. Nothing that's going to win any major awards or doesn't break any ground, but it's just good that the story got told.
Oh, that's excellent. Well, I'm going to watch it based on that. I love the Clark sisters, and when
that's why I'm glad the movie got made, because you love the Clark sisters and what they've done and what their careers represent. But anything on Lifetime, it's not coming with the boom boom. It's just always
it ain't coming with the Mott's. You say they ain't bringing the Mott's to it. That's good. So that brings me to your number one. Man,
number one's easy, and it's number one by a mile. It's a movie that's currently streaming on Netflix called Uncorked.
I saw it.
Man, first time feature film by the writer and director. It was just you never really seen a story like this told before. I mean, it's about a young man who wants to be a sommelier, and he's currently working at his family restaurant, which was a good look. You had a barbecue restaurant. Dad works hard to keep it going. Supportive mom, supportive wife, just a great family dynamic. And this kid's got his own ideas on who he wants to be and what he wants to do, and the fact that he chose to become a sommelier, I mean, that's just a great sort of spin. He has a girlfriend. I like the relationship between he and his girlfriend. I thought it was real. I thought it was authentic. I thought it had a realistic vibe. And then he goes off to France to study. I love those scenes in France. Love those scenes in Paris. It was cool. I'm glad they were able to actually shoot in Paris, which means they gave that brother some money. He has some budget.
Hey, so here's my question for you, Shawn, is that based upon the fact that it's by a mile, I don't remember your grading system. So if you were grading this movie, tell me your grading system and what it would get in your.
No, without a doubt. When I'm on air on Fox 4 News in Kansas City, we use the graphic popcorn bags. We go 1 through 5, 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. And we don't do halves because the graphics just look better as a whole. I mean, I was torn. Uncorked, man, I'm willing to give it a 5. I know a lot of people hated the ending. I thought the ending was daring. I thought it was bold. I thought it was something different. I completely got it, because I don't like when movies just nicely wrap everything up, because real life isn't nicely wrapped up. So I like the ending as presented. A lot of people did not like the ending. Like, a lot of people hated the ending. I actually liked the ending. But no, I would give Uncorked 5. I mean, when it comes time to vote, man, it's got some best picture. I liked it. It was strong. But the picture, the acting, and Niecy Nash, man, come on. Best supporting actress nomination, please.
Niecy Nash really did a great job. So here's my thought. Here's my thought on Uncorked. I really like this movie, but if I'm doing your scale, I'm giving it a 4.
Okay, I got you. I was torn. I just can't do halves. So yeah. I went up because I was feeling it. I went up instead of down. I mean, probably, if we weren't caught up in the middle of a pandemic, more accurately, it's a 4. I just was like, I
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, no, I liked it a lot as well, but I gifted it up to a 5.
And let me tell you why it gets to 4 for me, though, is that the relationship between him and his girlfriend, I thought that they did some stuff that I wanted to see more of. I thought that was
no. That's true. That's true. They did a lot of. I wanted to see more between all the dynamics. I wanted to see more of the father-son dynamic.
Yep.
I wanted to see more of the husband and wife. It was a lot of things I really wanted to see.
Yeah.
I wanted to see more about the world of studying wine in Paris, France. I mean,
Me too.
I could easily see this down the road becoming like a series. I mean, it just kind of had that feel.
I totally agree. So that's your man. You hooked us up. So let's recap. So you gave me at number 3, The Banker.
The Banker.
At number 2, the Clark sisters biopic, and then at number 1, by a mile, you're giving me Uncorked.
Uncorked, for sure.
So then I've been doing these series, and I want to get back with you at one point in time to talk about these series. But I've been doing a sports movie series, a rom-com series, and an action series. But I don't have all day to get with you on this. But I do want to break that up at one point and talk to you about it. Can you tell me a go-to movie that people from a sports perspective gotta check out while they're quarantined?
I need everybody to go back and revisit the 2001 movie Ali.
Ali.
Man. I need people to go back and revisit that movie because it's a masterpiece. It's a genius stroke of filmmaking. Just go back and just rewatch it. Initially, when it came out, reviews. It's because you get to like absorb it like from a different perspective now, and you get to see, oh man, no, Will was dope. Jamie Foxx, are you kidding me? And then just the feel and the look and the vibe and the structure. It holds up very well. It holds up very, very well. And I know when it initially came out, it just got okay reviews, but the movie's better than that. It's one of the best sports movies ever made about a black athlete.
Oh, excellent. Fantastic. So now I got to ask you, man, there's a lot of divorces happening and a lot of marriages happening while Corona is going on. Yes. So I'm going to be on the marriage side because I've been with my wife coming on, this 28 years, and I need a little romance, man. So give me, what's your go-to rom-com movie?
It's not really a rom-com movie, but it's a very romantic movie. It's very old school. But when I need to be picked up, when I'm trying to like get that feel on, man, I always go to my girl Claudine, starring Diane Carroll.
Man,
Claudine is it for me. Like there's nothing could compare. Claudine is it. Diane Carroll, James Earl Jones. Incredible storyline, soundtrack by Gladys Knight and the Pips. It never gets old.
You know what?
That's my go-to.
You know what? So I'm doing Brown Sugar. That's my film.
Like Brown Sugar. Brown Sugar's dope.
But when you say Claudine, it is like it has to be in your list because you're talking about. Tell me a little bit. For some people, don't even know who Diane Carroll is. Tell me a little bit about Diane Carroll.
Oh my God, Diane Carroll is she is one of the all-time greatest black actresses in the history of the film industry. I mean, man, she was in Carmen Jones. She was in Carmen Jones. I mean, she was the first black woman to have a TV series on a major network. With Julia. I mean, she was killing the game. I mean, she got nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress for Claudine in 1974. It's hard to get nominated for Black Actress in 2020.
That's right.
She got nominated in 1974. The same year that Cicely Tyson got nominated for Best Actress in Sounder. Man, what a historic year. So no, she's she's amazing. Just a phenomenal. I mean, rest in peace. She just recently passed. But I mean, no, talk about a pioneer of black film. It's Diane Carroll.
That's it, y'all. That is Shawn Edwards.
Thank you, man.
Hit him up. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to movies.